Ahoy! Welcome back to Monday Magic. I am Monday and I am back with another big ol' janky deck for your viewing pleasure. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today's commander is Tivit, Seller of Secrets. 3, a white, blue and black for a flying 6/6 with ward 3, and it has the ability when it enters or deals combat damage to a player, each player will make a vote, and then depending on the votes you will either get a treasure or a clue token. You are allowed to vote twice during this process and during any of the voting cards, but that's not particularly relevant with this deck. Now, I understand that a lot of people will see this commander and instantly think it's a kill on sight, think it's going to be borderline CDH. That's not what this deck is designed to do. This is taking the name Seller of Secrets and making it literally the Seller of Secrets. Basically, what we're going to be doing with this deck is looking at our opponent's hands quite a lot, because quite often people are holding up mana. You've got the blue player holding up 2 blue, someone's got 1 white, and potentially sort of threatening that they're going to use some removal on other people's stuff. What you can do is you can use this deck to look at people's hands to see if they're bluffing or not, and then decide whether you want to use that information to help further your own game plan and stop people from doing things to each other or make deals with other players. It's very political, very silly deck, very fun to play, in my opinion. So let's take a look at the cards that are going to let us look at our opponent's stuff and make decisions. Inevitable Betrayal, suspend 1 blue, search your opponent's library for a creature, put it onto the battlefield under your control. Mishra's Bauble is a 0 cost, sack it, look at the top card of target player's library, draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. Urza's Bauble says tap it, sack it, look at the card at random in target player's hand, you draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. Clairvoyance is 1 mana to look at target player's hand, draw a card at the beginning of the next upkeep. Encroach is 1 mana, look at target player's hand, choose a non-basic land card, and then they will discard that card. Gitaxian Probe, Phyrexian Blue, look at target player's hand, draw a card. Glasses of Urza, 1 drop, tap it to look at target player's hand. Absolutely perfect. Peak for 1 blue mana, look at target player's hand, then draw a card. Spy Network is a 1 blue instant, look at target player's hand, the top card of their library, any face down creatures they control, and then look at the top 4 of your own library, put them back in any order. So really good card. Abandon Hope, X, 1 and a black, choose and discard X cards, look at target opponent's hand, and then they discard X of them. X can be 0. Deep Cavern Bat, 2 mana flying lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand, and you can exile a non-land card from it until the bat leaves the battlefield. Dragon Knight Savant is a 2 drop, it has morph, and then when it's turned face up, you look at target opponent's hand. It's also a nice little blocker, a 0/6. Extract Brain is X blue black, target opponent chooses X cards from their hand, and then you look at them and you can cast one of them for free. Ingenious Thief, flying 1/1, when it comes into play, look at target player's hand. Painful Memories, 1 and a black, look at target opponent's hand, choose a card from it and put it on top of their library. Psychic Theft is 2 mana, look at target player's hand, choose an instant or sorcery, exile it, and you can play it this turn. If you don't, you have to return it to their hand. Thrall Surgeon has an activated ability to look at target player's hand, make them discard a card from it, but you can only do that at sorcery speed. Inquisition, look at target player's hand, and they take 1 damage for each white card in their hand. Creator's Grasp, search target opponent's library for a card, exile it face down and shuffle. You can cast it for as long as it remains in exile. Telepathic Spies, when it comes into play, look at target player's hand. Vendilion Clique has flash, and when it enters, look at target player's hand. You can choose an online card from it, and then they reveal it and put it to the bottom of their library and draw a card. Antagonizing Memories, look at target player's hand, choose 2 cards from it, put them onto the top of their library in any order. Gonti, Lord of Luxury, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of someone's library, exile 1 of them face down, and then you can play it for as long as it's in exile with mana at any cost. Jester's Cap, tap it, sack it, search target player's library for 3 cards and exile them. If you know someone's got an infinite combo, this is a good way to remove that. Lay Bare, counter target spell, look at its controller's hand. Extra mana for a counter spell, but fun and flavourful. Lobotomy is 2 and Dimir, look at target player's hand, choose a card other than a basic land, and then search their graveyard, hand, and library for all cards with the same name, and exile them. Really good for people that are running like your Slabs Against Humanities or your Heir Apparent decks, absolutely shuts them down. Mind Warp, X, 3 and a black, look at target player's hand, choose X cards from it, they discard those. X can be 0 if we just want to use the ability to look at an opponent's hand. Extortion, 3 black black, look at target player's hand, choose up to 2 cards from it, and they discard those cards. Head Games, 3 black black, target opponent puts their hand into their library, and then you go and get as many cards as they had in their hand from their library and give them a brand new hand. Absolute. Jester's Mask is essentially the same as Head Games, but it is on a artifact instead of on a sorcery. Wonderguard Sentry, 5 mana, when it comes into play, look at target opponent's hand. Elder Brain, 7 drop 6/6, when it attacks you exile the defending player's hand, and then as long as they're exiled you can play lands and cast spells as though mana were any colour. And that is all of the cards for that section. There's just over 30, so about a third of the deck is all about looking at your opponent's hands, being nosy and just seeing what's going on, and maybe stealing a few things if there's anything worth taking. On to the ramp, we've obviously got a Soul Ring to do Soul Ring things. We've got an Arcane Signet, again, don't need to explain to you what that guy does. Felbar Stone, we're 3 colours, we're pretty likely to get something we need. Talisman of Dominance is for the Dimir. Talisman of Hierarchy for the Orzhov. And Talisman of Progress for the white and blue. 500 Year Diary is a great card. It enters tapped, but then you can tap it for a blue for each clue you control, which with your commander you should be making quite a lot of. And then Solemn Simulacrum does a bit of ramp and a bit of card draw. And then onto the card draw, we have Brainstorm, look at the top 3, put them back in any order. We've got the Illusion of Choice, you choose how each player votes, then you draw a card. Ponder, look at the top 3, put them back in any order, you may shuffle, draw a card. Arcane Denial is a counter spell with a bit of extra card draw jumped into it. Midnight Clock, bong, add a blue, get enough counters, shuffle, wheel, do the whole thing. Talion the Kindly Lord is great in this deck. When it enters, you choose a number between 1 and 10, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to it, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. Now, obviously, with us knowing what's in everyone's hands for most of the game, we're going to be able to pick the right number most of the time and get some good value out of that. The Teferi's Puzzle Box is if you get bored of seeing what's currently in people's hands, if they're not drawing enough, you can just cycle through everyone's decks and see new stuff. And then Tamio's Journal, you can use it to sacrifice 3 clues and search for any card, put it into your hand. We're going to be making a lot of clues with our commander, so it just seems silly not to include this. Emergency Powers, each player shuffles their hand, graveyard and library and then draws that many cards again. Similar to the Teferi's Puzzle Box, just keeps everything fresh if you're getting bored of looking at the same cards over and over again. And then on to our interaction, 1 Black Darkness is a fog, really good. Path to Exile, you know what that does. Swords to Plowshares, same again. Dramatic Reversal. Ghostly Prison stops people coming at us. Propaganda does the exact same. And Portal Manipulator is an incredible card. It's a flash speed 3/2, and when it enters you can basically redirect an entire combat, so anything that's coming at you, you send somewhere else. And Silent Arbiter, only 1 creature can attack, only 1 creature can block. All we really care about is our commander attacking. And then we're going to move on to generally good cards for the deck. There's an Isochron Scepter, which we can imprint our look at people's hands cards, so we can do them over and over again without having to worry about trying to recur them. We've got a Wishclaw Talisman, enters with a wish counter. You can use this as a political piece. You can go and get something that you want and then give it to an opponent and they can go and get something they want. Candyman Manufacturer, our commander is making one of these 3 tokens, so we get all of them instead. Duelist Heritage, our commander cares about dealing combat damage, so we can give it double strike. Excellent. Displacer Kitten, our commander also has an ETB, so this thing can just make us incredible amounts of tokens. Teleportation Circle is in there for the same reason. On the end step, flicker your commander, get another set of tokens. Bard, King of Dale. If you would draw a card, except the first you draw 2, and if you would make a token, you make double tokens. Really good with our commander, just does a bit of everything. And then Cyberdrive Awakener will turn all of our clues and treasures into 4/4 creatures with flying, so that can help us end the game. And Tangle Trove Kelp is the exact same reason. At the beginning of combat, all of our tokens will become 6/6 plant creatures. So if we get loads of them out and the game's getting on a bit, we can then use these to one-bomb people with big clues and or treasures. Finally, we'll quickly go through the lands. Adakar Wastes, Arcane Sanctum, Bijuka Bog, Caves of Koilos, Command Tower, Evolving Wilds, Exotic Orchard, Obscura Storefront, Plains ×5, Prairie Stream, Rogue's Passage, Sunken Hollow, Underground River, and that is it for the lands. So that's today's janky deck. We care about looking at people's hands. We're using that information to pit our opponents against each other. Just a bit of fun, bit of interesting gameplay. It's not your average Tivit deck. So when you pop it down at the table and people go, "Oh, that thing's gross," you go, "Actually, it's just a silly thing. Not doing a great deal with," and then towards the end game you can sort of, you know, animate all of your tokens and try and win the game that way. We don't really care all that much about winning with this deck. It is just for a bit of fun and a bit of interesting gameplay. But yeah, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, do the engagement stuff, leave a comment if you can think of any interesting ideas that you'd like me to build into a deck. Other than that, Monday out.